Hello everyone, it's been a while. I've been quite busy, but I really want to make another video, so here I am. I got some video requests, I just picked some out and I went for I think his name was Andrea M. He requested how to do an alignment kick tutorial, so I made an alignment type kick. It's not, of course, it sounds like his, but it's not his kick, of course. I'm not recreating any specific kick of his. I'm always trying to give you the building blocks uh, to make a kick in that genre or artist style. So I'm gonna take you over how to make a kick like alignment. Uh, it's actually quite simple. I try to use as little VSDs as possible, but I ended up using two. That's LFO tool and M stereo spread. Of course, you want need these tools, but these are just because I'm too lazy. Okay, so we've got a couple layers, four actually for this kick. It's quite simple. We've got two primary kicks, a layer and a sub. So here's our first primary kick. It's from one of the most used packs ever, Vengeance Essential Club Sounds Volume 4, and it's number 071. So if you have it, you can check this kick out. It's quite a nice one. I did a little saturation. Okay, I'm gonna take you over everything, of course. So this is the bass kick. I shortened it and pitched it down once because it was not in tune with the rest. This is how it sounds. Quite a simple kick. We do of course have our effect chain here. Let's turn everything off in here as well so you can get the full raw sound of it. So this is what it sounds by itself. First we're gonna saturate it. A lot clickier, a lot heavier already. Then I cut some of the high frequencies off because we want to save that for the other one. You can get the high frequencies, but for me it started kind of colliding up there. You get some weird oscillation issues. So I just cut it off. Next, I actually add a vinyl distortion and I use it at pretty much nothing, but you can clearly hear the stereo image improve. You need quite a good headset to actually notice it, but it does improve the stereo field a lot. Don't use the tracing model because this is for crackling. You can pretty much just turn that off. Also don't worry about any of the crackle. You only want to focus on the drive because that's related to the distortion unit in the vinyl thing. Second up is our randomer kick. Randomer, I recommend checking him out on Splice. He's got a really great pack with some really amazing kicks. So we lay that on top. Same thing here, I distorted this time a little bit less than before. EQ, very simple, trying to keep this as basic as possible. It didn't match the other kick stereo field, so I put it on mid/side mode. Okay, this took me actually, when I first saw this on the mid/side mode, I didn't quite understand because I was trying to figure out how to put it on mid/side, but the way you do that is you pretty much hover your mouse over the button. You right click and then you just click mid/side. Usually it says width, but you want it on mid/side because that's better. Next up is our click. Of course, the click is very important. So this is just another Vengeance Essentials Club Sounds kick I mean. And we just have it like very short. We didn't do anything with the pitch. Then I saturate it again and I overdrive it. So overdrive, what I'm doing here, so I've got the dynamics somewhere around 25 usually. I've got the tone quite high and the drive as well, saying we really want that clicky sound to come out of it. And as you can clearly hear, this sounds like a perk to be honest, but it sounds really great, especially for this kick. Next up is our rumble. I try to do it as simple as possible. So again, Vengeance Essentials Club Sounds sub kick this time. And I literally just have it on a classic with an attack, decay, no sustain, and a small release. So you get this sound. It's just a sub. It's nothing special about it. I have an LFO, really basic. A saturator because it gives it some warmth and some good feeling. Of course, make sure you cut off the highs because it's quite important. And actually, that's pretty much everything for the kick editing. Let's make sure everything is turned on. Yep. So now I'm going to take you over the grouping. Always group your sounds, please. You can do this in one group if you're lazy like me, or you can do it in two groups where you have one group for your kick and the other one for your rumble, and then another one for your texture and everything like that. But I'm trying to keep this as basic as possible. So we're not going to do that here. So we're going to start off with an OTT. This is a multi-band dynamics OTT preset, but there's no particular reason why I use the OTT. It's just sort of in my workflow. You can use it if you want. I especially like the text and releases on this. It's quite nice. So that's why I recommend using the OTT preset. I've actually set the highs some higher because we want a lot more of the mids. And this is especially for boosting the subs. It's much better. So we're gonna play it without, and now we're gonna play it with. You see, it suddenly becomes a little bit more flat in the top end, which we want because we're gonna re-add that with overdrives and erosion and another saturator. So next up, we EQ off the sub frequencies. You can do this either 40 or 30. It really depends on your rumble and kick. You just have to try it. You can also try 45, 50 maybe, but in bigger club systems that's gonna start to sound a little weird. I boost some of the highs near 3.6k. Here again, vinyl distortion, running it through an amp with almost no presence. It does make a difference. I don't know why, seeing we got the presence pretty much off. Wait, no clue why this doesn't even do anything. Next up is our overdrive. Starts to add a lot of the highs back in. Another overdrive on 2%. This brightens up the high end by a fuck ton, even though you don't hear it. You can hear it if you have a very precise ear, but usually not. Now I'm using a limiter to actually compress it, because I love using limiters to compress stuff. This is on left and right. You can leave it on stereo, but I prefer left and right. Erosion to add some more highs in. You can barely hear this, but it does make a difference. You can use noise or white noise. It's just a personal preference. I like my kicks a little bit more mono, so I use noise. You can also add in quite a bit, and it starts it starts to sound like that really big sort of alignment kick. Next up, another saturator to really get it going now. Then we have an EQ, very important. This is on mid/sides. You can see how much clearer it sounds now. This all depends on the kicks you're using, of course, but always make sure you get rid of some of the 200s. This with, this without. If you remove the 200s, even in your main mix, everything just sounds so much clearer in an instant. Next up, this is an optional step, but this is something I like to do. I like to make my kicks very stereo. So I'm using an MS stereo spread. It's from, what's the company called? Melda Production, I think. Yeah, Melda Production. It's a really great plugin. I recommend you checking it out or buying it. It's the best. I love it so much. I've tried out so many stereo widening plugins, and this really is just the best one so far. This is also optional. A reverb. I hear in a lot of his tracks it's sort of reverb, so I'm using convolution reverb. I think that just nails it. And next up is a utility. Bass mono, very important. I just like to have it around 170, between 150 and 170, or a little bit higher, around 200. Also depends on what kick you're using. Try and experiment with those three frequencies. And I get rid of some of the sides again because it was quite stereo. Also make sure you check it in mono. Still sounds good, yeah. Some big systems don't have a stereo layout for the system, so always check your tracks in mono. Please do it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.